Hey guys. Hopefully you guys can hear. If you guys can hear me okay, maybe just put a 1 in the chat just so that I can see that everything is working okay. We're about to have a huge thunderstorm here, so I hope that the internet doesn't get knocked out. Hey, Jamie. Hey there, Heather. Hi, Mia. Good to have you guys. So hopefully everyone can hear me okay. We are about to have a serious electrical storm here. So if everything goes dark all of a sudden, it's because our internet's been knocked out. But anyway, let's see what we can do. So I started watching as the market opened at 6 p.m. and there's a huge gap that should be obvious on the chart here in orange. So just kind of keeping my eye on that, and I just want to give you like we'll go up to the 15-minute and just kind of take a look at where we are basically in the bigger scheme of things and show you just how my chart is mapped out, I guess. So in the blue lines here, this is my higher time frame. This is the 4-hour areas of liquidity. So I have those on my chart. So I have my 4-hour up here, and then below I have my 4-hour down here. And then in the red lines, I have my 15-minute liquidity areas, and I have both the primary buy side and the minor buy side, and then I also have the sell side minor and sell side primary. So hopefully that's pretty obvious on my chart. Trying to keep it like as clean as possible. While I'm doing this, I'm not always looking at the chat, but I'll bring it up every once in a while in case there's a question. I'm just gonna shut the window just so that you don't hear that storm. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the Asian strategy that I'm basically looking for, and this is what I'm looking for every night in Asia. Of course, we don't always get it, but I'm just going to share with you what the model is. And this is actually a combination of ICT and Awake FX. And I think you guys all follow or have at least seen Awake FX. He's the Irish guy. So this is what I am looking for on the Asian time frame between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. So on the 15-minute time frame, I'm marking the highest and the nearest swing high and swing low. That's basically area of liquidity. And then at 8 o'clock, I'm switching to the 1 minute or 2 minute, and I'm waiting for the buy side or the sell side to be taken. And the buy side and the sell side need to be taken between 8 and 10 p.m., although I'd rather see it taken closer to 8:30. Then I'm waiting for a market structure shift and a fair value gap to form, and it needs to be with displacement, and it needs to be with obvious displacement. And then enter the trade, stop loss placed above the swing high or low, and then a take profit of 1 to 2 RR. And that's basically it. Like, it's pretty straightforward. So that's the model that I'm following. So it's 7:35 now. I was just waiting for you guys to mark out my 15 minutes buy side and sell side, which pretty much is the same as what I have here. Just looking, let me just take this off for a second. So on the 15-minute, this is the gap between Friday's settlement price and 6 p.m. 6 p.m. on Sunday, obviously tonight. So my buy side, this is my buy side prior to 8 p.m. This vertical line is my 8 p.m. line here. So this is really, I want to identify areas of liquidity prior to 8 p.m. So I think my buy side here is okay. I think for the sell side, I'm actually going to mark another sell side here. And I'm just going to do this, sell side. Just because there are those two long wicks here, although this minor sell side is a pretty strong area. But again, we're in the sort of pre-market Asia section, and Asia doesn't generally move like as much as the New York session. Like it's slower, it's definitely slower, and it doesn't move as far. So I'd rather be a little more conservative. See if there's any questions here. Hey, Zernitza. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with these areas here, and sell side. And now I'm going to drop down to the 5-minute because it's 7:38. Just see what it looks like. Can you guys drop a 1 in the chat if you guys can see my screen okay? I just want to make sure you guys can see it okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. Thanks, Heather. Awesome. Okay, so that's on the 5-minute. I'm going to move down to the 2-minute. So again, this here, I'll just put this on here. This is the opening gap. I'm going to drop down to the 1-minute. So hopefully that's pretty clear. And I'm going to drop my fib on the opening gap, mark out the quadrants, the 4 quadrants. And that's my 50% level of this opening gap. So I've marked out here, I've got this BISI on this side, and then price has hit 58.08 a couple of times, and on, let me just put on the 6 p.m. vertical here. So it's got to be over here. Actually, I'm just going to mark here. $1,700. So I like this. I I've got a SIBI between this candle and this candle, and I think that it would be fair to say that price may go for the opening gap. Ideally, I would want to get into the trade at this SIBI here. I just want to reiterate that hopefully everyone is trading in their sim. This is not a signal service. Sorry, you should definitely not be taking any trade that I take since I'm a student of ICT. So for sure, don't copy my trades. And sometimes I'll be trading sim here, and sometimes I'll be trading live. But to me, like, it shouldn't make a difference really in terms of what I'm trading, because you should just do you. You may not even have the same strategy as me. Maybe you're trading something completely different. So you should just do you. And I'm just going to do me. I think that's just a proper way to go about it. Oops. Is everyone trading alongside in sim? Sorry guys, I'm just looking for the chat. I can't keep everything up at the same time. Just a minute. There we go. Okay, I think I have that organized now. Okay, so Heather, you're watching in your sim? Yeah, okay. There's on the 1 minute, there are these wicks down here, so I've kind of got my eye on this area too here, in case price wants to bounce around a little bit. But I would ideally wait for 8 p.m. before I take a trade. ICT, in his video on Friday, he talked a little bit about strategy for Asia session, and his strategy or his discussion was to take a look at Friday when the market closed on Friday and see whether liquidity had been swept from a major area. And if liquidity was swept but price did not move, and then the trading day ended, we could anticipate that when the market opens on Sunday, that we might see price move down. And that's pretty much what happened here this evening at between 6 and 7 p.m. So I'll just change my screen. If you look down here, I'm just going to switch to regular trading hours. And so you can see that on Friday, price had been moving up. I'm going to switch to the 15-minute. And we had this candle with this long wick here, which could be indicative of taking out liquidity. So I was anticipating that price may drop when 6 p.m. opened today, and price was at 58.04. So, you know, we're not at all-time highs, but certainly Friday price had really moved up. So it was something that I was anticipating today, was to see Asia open and move lower. So we'll see if it wants to fill the gap here. There we go, it's starting. Move to the 1 minute. Sometimes I like to watch the 2 minute because it doesn't bounce around as fast. Sometimes the 1 minute can kind of like fake me out a little bit. So we'll see if price will follow ICT's philosophy, I guess, that 50% of the gap will fill in the first 30 minutes of the market. It looks like price is respecting that SIBI. So this is basically the Caleb model, right? So put your stop loss at the top of the second candle, or conservatively you could put it at the top of the first candle. Let's see what happens. That's really weird. So I try as much as possible to get in with a limit order, and I set my stop loss, I set my take profit, and I really try not to move anything unless I really feel that something has changed, and then maybe I just need to get out of the trade. But pretty much once I set the trade up, I just let it run. So I'm either taking a loss of $15 or I'm going to take profit of 56. That's just the way it is. And I like to pyramid out because I do like to protect some of my profits. So let's do this. So this would be a 3.75 risk to reward, but that's if I held the entire position to terminus, which I wouldn't. Like I would exit probably with one contract, pyramid out, but let's see what happens. Oh, maybe it's just not ready to drop. It could go back up to here, could go back up to this SIBI. Janine, it really just depends. Sometimes when the market opens and the market, say if the market was really high on Friday, and then I would anticipate that when Sunday's market opens, that price would probably drop down, which is what happened today. But I didn't take the trade earlier because I knew that we were streaming at 7:30. So I'm not married to it. Sometimes, you know, you just have to be flexible as long as whatever model that you're trading, that you see the characteristics that would support taking that trade, right? But let's see if price wants to go back up to here. Are you guys trading the New York AM gap with ICT? Is anyone trading ICT in the morning and the New York AM? Well, the algo kind of starts around 8 p.m. for Asia. Like that's, yeah. Yeah. Well, anything can happen with a gap for sure, Janine. Yeah. Oh, Heather, you're trading with ICT. Did anyone check to see if ICT left a message on Twitter saying what time he was starting tomorrow? So if I had, yeah, no kidding. So here was the conservative stop loss, right, where this red line is. So it's the first candle of the combination of three, and look at that, price literally just tapped that and then started to drop again. One of the things that I really had to change as a trader, and it's worked out better for me, is in the past I would say get stopped out of a trade and then I would immediately jump back into a trade. You know, I'd say, oh, my stop loss was the problem, or I'm sure that price is going to go down. But I don't do that anymore. When I get stopped out, I stop and I take my time and figure out what I either didn't see, or like I take that time to reassess. And that has served me much, much better than jumping just back into something and being wrong twice. So it looks like we're really sort of jumping around the top of this gap. What's that expression? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So it's 8:01. Yeah, you know what, Janine? I've learned my lesson so many times. Like if I'm wrong about a trade, I just need to take a step back. And now I only get 2 trades a day anyway. So I'm not going to jump back into something really fast. I just want to like reassess, right? I would rather, I'm just going to move this. 1 second. I'm just going to move this over because I want to be able to see the wicks. I would rather miss a trade because of a poor stop loss, and see price ultimately run to my terminus, rather than jumping in, setting up the trade again, and being taken by the market a second time. Like I just had that happen too many times. And so for me, self-discipline is more important than consistently making those spontaneous, random mistakes that I used to make. Like I would love to see price right now run to 50%. The old me would have said, oh man, like I missed the trade. I knew it was going there, but guess what? There's going to be another trade coming. So big deal, right? And then I would feel good at least that price is going to the 50%. And if I had just been a little more conservative with my stop loss, I would have had that trade. So that's just a lesson for my next trade. I don't really have FOMO anymore, unless it goes to the bottom of this gap, and then I'm going to feel some FOMO. I think the other thing to consider with Asia is that sometimes your stop loss needs to be a little bit more generous. That's what I have found with Asia. And when you're trading with micros anyway, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit more of a stop loss. So there you go, 50%. It may be more. Yeah, if I had just put my stop loss just above, literally above this candle. So ICT says, so here was my stop loss here, right? So ICT basically says this is your, the safer stop is up here on the first candle, but your kind of less conservative stop is the top of the second candle, and that's where I had my stop, and that's, I got stopped out. Had I put it up here, maybe 1 or 2 pips above that candle, I would have, I would have had this trade. So Mia, good for you. So it dropped down to my 50% gap and exited the trade. Awesome, Mia. So good for you. That's awesome. And it might go a little further, so let's just take a look and see where it actually goes. I don't know. Are you feeling like this is on a delay? I don't think it's. I don't know if it's delayed. I mean, we might have a few seconds as a delay, Mia. So that would have gone down to 5 RR. Yeah, okay, thanks, Heather. I'm on the 1 minute right now, Mia. I don't trade on the 30 second or 15-second the way ICT does. Oh, that's clever, Heather. Thanks for that. I didn't realize that. Let's see if the gap closes all the way, or if we if there's a reversal and we start going back up. But that's a nice trade. And I like trading Asia. It is a little slower at times. So really, Asia is known for its consolidation, but not always. Sometimes Asia can have like a really good run, especially if New York PM goes into consolidation mode. Then Asia has a better chance of, you know, being a little more dynamic, I guess is the way to describe it. And I think that Asia is a nice option for, you know, people who work full time during the day, or if you have kids or like whatever, right? Because you can kind of watch the market between 7 and 10 p.m. So I think it's a nice option. Well, Janine, that might be, you know, like if that's your model, to wait till the gap fills and then go long. But again, I take 2 trades a day, so I'm not jumping in at the bottom of a gap unless I see my particular model. And we marked up the 15-minute buy side and sell side prior to 8 p.m. And so that is really the model that I was meant to take today. Hey Luke, thanks for joining us. So that was my intention, and I'm trying to trade with intention as much as possible. So let's just take a second here and regroup. So here's the buy side and here's my sell side. So between 8 and 9 o'clock, if we pass, if we take liquidity there, buy side or sell side, and then I see a market structure shift, displacement, and then a fair value gap, that would be my trade. Janine, sometimes I have discipline and sometimes everything just goes out the window, but hopefully with trading, live streaming Asia, and I think I'm going to be live streaming Asia every night, or most nights, and but that's my goal. So we'll see what happens. But here's what I'm thinking, because we took already the buy side before 8 p.m. and that can happen with Asia. So because we took the buy side, I'd be pretty surprised if price came all the way back up, retook buy side, and then dropped again. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that would happen. I mean, it could happen, but we'll see. Oh, good for you guys. Jamie, you're still holding. Good for you. Luke, it's always good when you're taking the same trade as a bunch of other people. It's kind of like validation, right? Oh, that's awesome, Luke. Yeah, good for you. You're a student and trading at night. That's awesome. Hopefully you can like study while you kind of keep your eye on the Asian market, right? So let's just look and see kind of what's below the gap, that if price were to continue, kind of where, you know, price would continue to. Partialed most of my position at 50%. I'm making sim money tonight. Oh, well, good for you, Jamie. Yeah, Zernitza, I tell you, sometimes when you're not in the States, it's like a real hassle factor. I think that people in the US citizens can't appreciate, like, it's so straightforward for them to have all this technology, and it's not as straightforward when you're not in the US. Like, I'm in Canada, and I have, like, it's been a journey for me. So just kind of looking here, I'm just going to throw some trend lines on here for things that catch my attention. And I'm not going to name them anything. I'm just going to kind of put them on here. I'm looking for swing lows, you know, kind of like that price would be attracted to. I'm also looking at BISI. And oops. Down here. I mean, I don't think Asia is going to go that far down, but you never know. It would be nice to see price go down to here, this level, or even this level, maybe before turning around or reversing. And just to put some context, this pink area here is a 1 hour SIBI. So this is on the 1 hour. So if we were to drop a fib on that, let's just quickly do that. Here's the 50% of this hourly BISI. So if price stays above that 50% or reverses, that is kind of the market showing its hand, or price showing its hand, that it may run up for this buy side on the primary here on the 15-minute. If price wants to stay above the 50%, that feels a little more bullish. If it were truly, truly hard bearish, you know, it would go right to the bottom of this hourly SIBI. So generally around this time of day, this time of night, I like to throw on my Asia market. I'm just going to take off some of this stuff now. So just providing some context. Here was our Friday New York AM session, the lunch hour. Price continued going up into the New York. Then price jumped at 6 p.m. today. We accumulated a little bit, bounced around up here, and then filled the gap. So that's just to provide some context on a 5-minute chart. But let's go back to the 1 minute so we can kind of see what's happening. Luke, you really want to come to Canada? Yeah? Okay, looks like Luke's left. I'm out. Okay, see you later, Luke. Thanks for joining us. I was wearing a jacket here tonight in Canada, so I'm not sure that y'all want to come to Canada. So where my eye is going on the 1 minute is this whole range here. This whole range is like a fairly balanced price range. In other words, there's no volume imbalance. There's really, maybe there's a small one here, a small SIBI, but it's basically a balanced price range. I mean, price could come back up to this SIBI, but all through here on the 1 minute, it's pretty balanced. Luke, where in Canada do you want to come? Canada is like a humongous country, as I'm sure you know. So what, East Coast, West Coast, Mid, what are you thinking? And where are you from, Luke? What country, like just what country are you from? This is where you'd hop in, Janine? Okay. Just pulling my fib on that wick and see if price wants to stay below the 50%. If price stays below the 50%, price may just come right back down. I learned something really interesting from ICT on Friday. I see it on the chart now, so I just want to chat about it a bit. I'm bullish this week, so I like the idea of hopping in, going long, but I don't trade Asia. Yeah, Janine, I see what you're saying. Like right now, there's a little bit of consolidation. Here's the cool thing I learned on Friday from ICT. I found this really interesting. He was talking about balanced price ranges, and we see here on this candle, on this large black candle or red candle, so price is coming down, and then this green candle comes halfway up this candle. And I always used to think that price has re-delivered, right? So it's balanced at least the 50% of the bottom of this candle. But on Friday, ICT was discussing the fact that price has to re-deliver on the buy side. And so for there to be a balanced price range, we would want to see this candle come all the way back up with a full candle and re-deliver, not just the wick. And that was a real eye-opener for me, because did you guys think that a balanced price range was just the wick up, or did you know that it had to be a re-delivery by a whole body of a candle? Did anyone catch that on Friday in his discussion? So I made like a big red note about that, because that was new for me. So consolidating here, look how price is really respecting. Let's just throw this on here. 57.96. Look at that. Price came down, wicked, came right back up. Longs coming in. Yeah, you could be right, Luke. But let's see if price wants to come down here. So this is 57.94. Let's see if price wants to come down, sweep all this out, take this liquidity first. So again, this 50% here, that's 50% of the hourly BISI. Well, if you look on a market maker, Janine, if you look on the higher time frame, we have the sell side all the way up, and we already started the buy side. Or sorry, the buy side went all the way up almost or to all-time highs, and then we have like a partial sell side. So if we just go to the just flip to the 1 hour for a second. This is all buy side in here. We've been buy side. Now we're like goofing around at the top here. This is why I'm not quite sure if we're going to go bullish or bearish this week, because we're almost a little bit in consolidation here. So here's the buy side. Here's now at the top where market is going to decide if it's going to continue higher or if we're going to start the sell side. So that's, you have to look on the higher time frame, or at least I look on the higher time frame for that. Or Janine, maybe you meant like on the lower time frames, the buy model and sell model. Maybe that's what you meant. We're so close to this area here. I think there's some more sweeping of liquidity that's going to be done before we go higher. I don't know. Are you going to go in longs? Okay, Luke, let us know how that works out. Hopefully, are you in sim? Anyway, you don't have to tell us, Luke. It doesn't really matter, I guess. For me to go long, like I want to see some more market structure. I want to see some displacement. I want to see a market structure shift. I want to see a fair value gap. I'd even like to see a breaker block or a rejection block. Like that's what I would want to see. I need to see some evidence that the direction is changing. Oh, that's awesome, Luke. Are you on a 50K? Oh, do we? We have SMT with NQ? I'd like to see, for me to go long, like I'd like to see a market structure shift here. I need to see fair value gap. I need to see some displacement. Call me conservative. You know, at times like this, I really like to see a breaker block, like a nice solid breaker block. And breaker blocks are nicely situated in areas of liquidity, like a breaker block in and of itself, without being an area of liquidity, is, you know, not foretelling. But at an area where there's liquidity and on the higher time frame, if you get a breaker block, they're pretty significant. All right, you're out at break even. Well, that's good that you're at break even. Well, good for you for trying, Luke. Like you only know what you know. I've done a lot of kind of getting into the price action a little bit too soon and then getting stopped out. And I'm really trying to break that habit of mine. So now I want to see market structure. If price is going to switch directions, I don't need to be the first one in. I think I've like cured myself of that. I'd rather wait and get in it maybe at the second fair value gap or on a breaker block. But I've just had like I've been fooled too many times. And this is clearly accumulation here. So, you know, what does accumulation tell us? So the market is generating liquidity. And so it could still go either way. We just know that it's generating liquidity. It could be, you know, taking the buy stops. Who knows? But I need a little bit more evidence. But I get where you're coming from because I've done it like a million times. So I'm trying to like be a little more conservative. Because if price is going to go all the way back up here to 58.08, let's just say hypothetically it's going to come all the way back up here and retest or even go higher. That's a really nice price range. I can grab the middle part of that price range. I don't have to be in the beginning of it. Okay, in inversion. Okay. Yeah. How many screens are you looking at, Luke, at the same time? Are you trading on like multiple screens? Yeah, I thought we don't even have a fair value gap here yet. Yeah. Yeah, Janina, like it could still go either way. I just, who knows right now. Yeah, sounds good, Luke. Sounds like a good plan. Thanks, Janine. Have a great day tomorrow. Well, just a lot of accumulation right now. Yeah, I see it, Luke. I have my eye on the same one. This one right here. And this is an imbalance here, so price may come back up here. Luke, are you thinking, like, are you talking about the macro? The macro that will probably run at 850? Not the macro? Okay, I'm thinking the macro that will start running at 850. Around 850. Just drawing the fib on the fair value gap. Oh, you're looking at the 15-second, okay. 45-second and 50-second, okay. Well, true to its word, Asia is accumulating. So what I would want to see is when London opens, London may go higher. Not necessarily, but it may. Oh, on the minutes of every hour, okay. Oh, I see. You look at the 15-minute, the 45, and the 50. Yeah, so the macro starts running on the kind of around the 50-minute mark to 10 past the hour. I get you. I don't know. I wonder if it's going to run down and clean out all of these buy stops down here. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, the 45 comes with some volume. Okay. If Asia comes down a little more, it wouldn't surprise me if London then reverses it and takes it up. It could wait for London to do that. Because I think we've already been up here on the buy side. So I'm almost anticipating it's going to drop lower and clean out some of this. And then London may be the reversal. Just looking at the Dow. So the Dow is bullish. And Q is looking marginally bearish. In the New York session, so I usually in the morning I click on to ICT, like I trade whatever it is he's teaching in the 2024 mentorship. That's awesome, Jamie. Sim Rich, yay. If we're still accumulating by 9 o'clock, then I'm gonna call it a night, and we'll meet back here same time tomorrow for Asia. I think I plan on streaming every night on Asia pretty much. I generally have like pretty good trades on Asia. Okay, good night, Heather. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, like I mean, all of ICT's concepts are like, there's so much overlap, right? For me, I really like to see displacement, market structure shift, fair value gap, order block, but I'm really focused on, here we go. I'm really focused on power of three. I just want to see if it continues going up in this fair value gap here. Here's the market structure shift. For this to be a solid breaker block, I would want to see this close above this BISI, but we got wicked out, so for me this is almost like a fake out breaker. It's just not very strong, but that's what I would want to see. Well, this one's totally leaving without me. I was really hoping it was going to come down to this level so I could get in at a good discount price. It's really having trouble getting above the 50% of this SIBI. Every time it goes above, it gets wicked back down. Okay guys, well it's 9:15, so I think I'm gonna wait for the New York Open and see if I can catch a gap tomorrow with ICT. But thanks for coming out for our very first live stream of Asia. So same time tomorrow, and hope you guys have an awesome night.